Howdy, everybody. So today I kind of messed up. I forgot to bring my easy to use mics while out. So, oddly enough, I got a huge interface to do this. Okay, we're going to talk about what I believe is how do I put it? Best 5K you can spend to start up your video team, period. In my opinion, it's just an opinion, but being out in the industry for a while and been asked several times by newcomers or business owners saying, hey, look, I want to hire camera people. I don't want to pay rental fees. I do want to have good stuff. I also want to be able to make like really nice stuff and learn how to do this on my own a little bit. Or I have a creative team and I need to be able to have the equipment here, but not everyone's going to be a camera operator, and it's just easier to get somebody to come in for maybe a couple times a month to do the work. But I don't want to pay the rental fees. I want to make sure the consistency is good, or most importantly, I want to make sure that we have the same looking image all the time, which that does make a difference if you're bringing in a secondary crew. So let's start off with a camera. In my opinion, we're in a world of super nice cameras. So you can get a camcorder, you can do all types of things, and yes, you can get a camcorder for a really good price right now. You can get it for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and be starting off pretty good. The problem with camcorders is low lights. So if you happen to be in one of three areas that we run into, a really dark outside, and this doesn't look that dark, but if you actually were outside there with the camera, your ISO would already be right around 3,000 to 6,000. That's with APS-C, or what they call a Super 35 sensor. You'd be right around 2,800 to 3,200 with a full frame, and if you're using a 1-inch sensor, which is in a lot of the camcorders or smaller, you'd be over 6,000 ISO. That makes a huge difference in the image you're going to get when you're doing a live stream, or if you're trying to set up some video that you're going to use to display your product. So what I'm going to recommend as a good start camera is going to surprise you a little bit. It will be a camera that has an audio input, ability to change lenses, a really long battery, and can go all day long. So if you're doing a live stream at an event, or if you're recording an event the whole way, and there's a little extra noises because I happen to be in a hotel lobby doing this because, well, I got inspired, so I just decided to do it. First camera I'm going to recommend is actually going to be, let me just one moment here to share the screen. It's going to be this one. I'm going to go with the Sony FX30 with the handle. Do not buy this without the handle. There is a reason for that. With the handle, this camera becomes a professional camera. Without the handle, you might as well just buy any camera out there for $1,000 to $1,500. On this camera itself, one of the key things is the handle. That handle there happens to have, let me pull this screen up. It happens to have on it controls for audio, which are full controls, 4 channels. Where is the XLR picture at? On the other side, it's got XLR inputs. And what that really means is, say, for instance, you're doing an event and it's live streaming, and you got a important person speaking that day, or is this some information you want to get across that everyone can hear you smoothly, or most importantly, you just want to be able to get this for later on and show it off and it sounds great and you don't need an audio engineer. You can plug in directly from an audio board, real clean sound. I do it all the time for live concerts. It's really nice to do, and you get the microphones, everything, the full mix recorded right on there, and it sounds really good. The other part is the format. With this particular camera, the Super 35 on this, ooh, this is super nice. When you're using a Super 35 and it's got eye autofocus, all this other stuff, it's clean, simple, and easy to use. And you can change lenses all the time. You can do whatever you want to do with it and turn it into a super beast or a regular everyday usage piece. The other part is, if I was doing a live stream like this and I happen to have a producer or creative manager in my office, and a tripod, we're set to go with a really nice live stream. And why is this important? If you're in a C suite or a presenter, you're getting called in all the time to do Zooms, Teams, and others in remote locations. 9 times out of 10, you just don't sound good or look good. And it's not your fault. It's just a laptop's not the greatest and their microphones aren't the greatest. Or the Bluetooths aren't the greatest. You really do need professional equipment. You could literally get a wired microphone like this one here, plug it into the side of the camera up here, and have really great audio. And this is extremely important if you're looking to do this professionally every single day or a couple times out of the month, or if you're going to be a presenter for one of the multiple nonprofit organizations or for profit organizations that need your message sent across or said quite well and seen quite well. The other part is when I brought up stands, and I'll do that in a second here. This camera here can be mounted to any of the professional stands with ease. Now, this is the camera I recommend. It's around $2,100, $2,199. Very good camera. The next key part to this one here, you don't need an 810 mini. You don't need an interface of any kind whatsoever other than a USB-C cable to make it your main camera for your laptop, be it a MacBook or a PC. This is key. If it's part of a MacBook or a PC and you can just make it into your main camera, it makes life a lot easier for live streaming. Or if you're just trying to record something. The other part is, just my opinion on this, the battery life on this is amazing and it can run with 4K all day. Recording, you're going to decide what media you're going to use for that. And yes, I said $5,000. I didn't bring up media because you could buy a cheap SD card and record in HD, which is $20, $10, or you can go into 4K 120 or 60, and that's going to be a big card that can cost you up to $1,000 or $2,000. So we're not going to talk about media here on that today. So let me get rid of the screen here real quick. Now we're going to start talking about what I would use for a lens. A lot of options here. So I'm going to go over 3 lenses I'd go with this one here, and it is really easy. The first lens, I would have to say, of all of them, would be a zoom lens. This one happens to have the ability to use a zoom lens and take advantage of one of the cool features on it. So B&H is not a sponsor, so please don't think this is. I just happen to find stuff on B&H really easy. So let's go ahead and add that in here. Hey, there you go, B&H. The Sony PZ18 to 105 F4G OSS. Sony's long names for really easy to use cinema lens. Now you see on there it says W&T and it looks like a rocker. On the other camera that we were looking at, it also had a rocker on it in the front, right by where you hit the record button. That rocker will activate the power zoom in this for you. With it activating the power zoom, you now have a power zoom, 5x zoom in almost any room to cover almost everything you need. This is phenomenal. This will allow the average person just to get out there, get some great video going right away, and it looks really good. Love this lens. It is probably one of my favorite to work with. Now, if I had to pick another lens to work with that would be really good and give you that cinematic look, or just give you the ability to make the rest of your background kind of blur away and still look phenomenal, I'm going to go with this next one. And I think they're both really good. And they're both by, well, this one's by Sigma. The other one's by Sony. So I'm going to go with the Sigma one first, which is going to be the, let me show you. The Sigma 30 f1.4 DCDN contemporary lens. Long story short, looks really good. Gives you a decent enough wide angle. Really good focus, and shallow depth of field is awesome. And that's really all you need is something really nice like that that'll get 2 or 3 people into the image give you a nice shallow depth of field, and at the same time be able to give you that mm, good look. The next one I'd recommend is by Sony, and it has that really, really sweet spot between 75 millimeters and 85 millimeters. You're going to get a really good head shot of somebody, and if you can get in 1.8, 2.8 area there, you will have that stunning separated from the background look, and it's amazing. And if you're trying to make your videos look really good, this is how you do it, and it's phenomenal. So let me show you the lens I'm talking about. It is, and yes, I'm by myself. I don't have a producer today, so I'm just going to do this myself, and it will be just fine. Let's go ahead and add this one here. We're going to add that in. So we got the Sony E 50 millimeter f 1.8 OSS. This is actually the least amount of name in a lens I've seen for Sony in a long time. It works phenomenally. It's a 75 millimeter is what it turns out to in full frame equivalent, and it just looks really good. It's optically stabilized to go along with the stabilization in the camera, and it just looks phenomenal, especially if you're trying to get that close-up look, that bokeh look, the little light balls behind you, the everything kind of faded away or separation in the background. Those all just come phenomenally well with this lens. And it's not that expensive. I mean, 348 ain't bad at all. Now, how do we power all this? That's where things get a little different. We're looking to do everything for $5,000. It's kind of hard. Now, there's a MacBook that we could get for right around a Mac we could get for right around 1,000. I forgot to put that in there, but let me throw that in there real quick. So that would be Apple's product. Give me a second here. An Apple laptop, I think, would be a good offering in this too. So let me pull that up. Sorry about that. I forgot to pull the Macs in there because we do have a lot of Apple users out there. I think it's the M2 chips, and you can get one for right around $1,000. It's a 13-inch. So we'll talk about that just 1 second here because I don't want to exclude this particular one. All right, so let's start talking about laptops. We all need one. It's going to be part of what we do every day. So the first one I'd recommend to you to get the most power with the least amount of cost is going to be this one. And it's a Dell. Come on, Dell, show up here. This Dell right here is actually pretty powerful. Surprisingly enough, I found a Dell for $1,000. This is on sale, so this isn't normally what it would cost. It would normally be like $1,599, but I'm trying to keep us at $5,000 out of pocket. You are going to get a RTX processor with this from the 3050 Ti, 4 gig DDR6. If you happen to be using some limited video editing, this will give you that ability to do it. 16 gigs of RAM definitely does the job. It's a 3K screen, really nice. 300 nits is not that large. Kind of sucks on that part there, but at least you'll be able to get a good idea what it looks like. And of course, the new i7 12th generation processor. So it's going to be a nice one. It is a clearance one. They always have products like this. So this is one way I would go. The other way for our contemporary other users of out there, let me make that big screen right there. Come on, spotlight me here. The next thing I would actually recommend is the Apple. And the Apple one I'd recommend is the 13-inch. And this one here is, I believe, the 8-core CPU with the unified memory. Basically, right around $1,099. It's an Apple M2 laptop with a 13-inch screen. Relatively put, it's a great, great way to start off with for doing your editing, doing your live streaming. So either computer, you're going to come out ahead. They're both right around $1,000, and you'll be a happy camper. Now, the next thing we got to talk about is we've talked about lenses. We have talked about cameras. We have talked about laptops. The only thing we haven't talked about really is sound. And if I have to make a choice between all the wireless mic systems out there, and I am going to go with wireless because wired is awesome, but wireless works really, really good. A wired mic like this is literally $120 or $110 on Amazon, and you can connect it to that camera and you'd have great audio. But if you want to go wireless and you're doing interviews, you'll need something that you can just clip on and go. I'm going to make a recommendation, and it's one I have used for a while now. We do use the Sennheisers, which are awesome. We do use the Sures, which are awesome. Both of these product lines are amazing. The only thing is budgetary. And if we're looking at somebody trying to come in, get a great piece of equipment for a let me get in there the right way budget, I'm going to recommend, and where did I put you at? Give me just 1 second here. I'll add it in here. I thought I had it up on the screen already, but apparently I lost it. Come on. Let's do wireless. I had it up before, and I don't know why it disappeared, but here it comes. Thank you for your patience because, well, happens every once in a while. Doing a live production, thought I had everything ready to go, and here it is. Share. Wireless Rode Go 2 units. And why are you not showing the picture? Don't know. There it is. $299, two microphones, two audio recorders in one package. This thing is super simple. Essentially, you get to record the audio directly off of a person. You can also connect it to the camera, easy to sync up, and you really can't mess up with these at all. They come with, lithium-ion batteries in them, last for about 5 hours, and you can record on like 8 hours of audio. You can't go wrong with these in any way, shape, and form when you're working with cameras. And the audio, surprisingly, is pretty phenomenal. As long as you're not in a super loud room, it's going to sound good. If you want to spend a little bit more money, another $200, you can get the cables that connect to it that are called clip-on mics, and then your audio just goes up into almost professional level. In a lot of ways, I've used these for events, for interviews, had so much success with them that really it's jumping up to a Sony or Sennheiser's higher end $1,000 to $2,000 UHF microphone lavalier systems is the only way to really surpass these. Sennheiser does have a 2.4 system that is really, really nice. The reason why I have chosen not to go with the system, it's not stereo, number one. Number two, which is really surprising for me, is it's too obstructive in size, in my opinion. So utilizing it versus these, it's bigger. And a lot of ways, this is smaller, and I like it better for that footprint piece. In the internal recording, I don't have to have an F1 or an F2 recorder connected to a person, which those are a Zoom product, or a Tascam 101, and it connects to a person, has a lavalier, and then you sync the audio later. This already has all that built in plus wireless sending. So if you're looking to up your audio, this is extremely good and a very positive piece to have. Last, but definitely not least, is how do we put this all together as a package when we're looking to do production? The last piece is always, and usually is forgotten about, is a stand. Most of the times you'll buy a cheap one online for like a $50, $100, $200, and it barely has a, video tripod head or what they call a fluid head. They barely has one of those. It doesn't work very good, and you're really just trying to get angles. Don't know why they're doing this. I don't care why they're doing this, but this is one of the inexpensive products that I carry with me all the time because it works. It is really tall. I use them with the PTZ camera. So we have the N300s from Canon, and it works really good with these or any of the PTZ cameras when you need to get them over 6 feet off the ground with stability and the ability to, just mount them up really good and get the body in a good position. They work with heavier cameras, so up to an 11-pound load, but they do not have counterweights, so you will need counterweights for this. This next video tripod, I think, is the best tool out there for less than 500 for a video tripod. In my opinion, it's just for under $500. You really can't do any better. And one of the main reasons, and I'm going to show you here in just 1 second. Let me bring this up. Thank you for your patience. Always just, when you're doing it by yourself, you got to kind of make it all happen by yourself. So, do you see this stand right here? One of the things that sets this stand apart is that it is 6 foot tall at this portion right here before you have the fluid head control. And one of the pieces about this fluid head that is significantly different than all the rest for under 500 is that blue dial at the bottom. That blue dial allows you to adjust the resistance for panning left and right. Most of the good fluid head video tripods don't have that. They do have the little twisty piece and the other twisty piece there for grabbing on tight and locking, but they don't have the variable control. With the Benro, you get the variable control, which I really, really love because this makes a huge difference whenever I am making modifications. So what they call that is the drag control. This is key, and this is something I expect to find in a $500 video tripod because it's really important. And I'm going to stick on this image right here for a reason. I mean, we've already seen the camera on there like this. Looks really cool. Actually, I'll leave it on here. But that blue little piece, I'm going to go over that real quick and why this is significant in your video productions. A lot of times you're panning left and right and you're wanting to catch a really good image of somebody and you don't want it to look jerky or messed up. This right here makes the difference. If you have this one piece alone, it will change the way you do video imaging because you have a fluid head that has a variable control on the drag. So if you need quick pan and whips, fine, you can do that. But if you want a nice controlled, subtle movement, you can do it too. And even if someone's trying to go too hard on it and push it too fast, it will stop them and keep it from doing that. I love how this is just probably one of the best little unknown packages for under $500 as a tripod. So you can come in and get a professional tripod that can handle most situations. So say, for instance, you're, and another reason why I choose this one too, for instance, you're in a standing room situation where the average person is like 5'10", 5'11", who's, the taller in the room. And you need a little bit more height. Well, the base of this, see where the blue is? That base right there is 6 foot tall at the highest. You still got another 4 or 5 inches, and then you got the camera on top. So you're really at 6'5", 6'6", which means you're over the crowd. You're able to get the heads a little bit, but get the shots you're trying to get with this stand, where a lot of the other stands are only 5 foot tall or 5.5 foot tall, which means the camera is only going to be at 6 foot tall. There's another advantage of this is if you are a 6'2" camera operator or 6'3" camera operator, you're used to having to kneel down and look at stuff low, but you can actually have it at eye levels, which is really nice because most of these tripods aren't set up like that. So this last looks like 24 minutes, 25 minutes. I've been rambling on what I think is the best 5K you can spend starting off your production team stuff or equipment or however you want to discuss it. Or if you're looking to go into video productions and you just want to have a good starter kit, that's a good starter kit. Now, there's going to be some accessories you can get. There's going to be some interfaces you can get. At the same time, this is still one of the strongest starting points you're going to have because you could go directly into any shooting situation with S-Log. You can do a true 24 frames out of this. So if you want to do production, most likely that camera will be Netflix certified because the FX3 was. So that means it could be used for real production. Um, the other part about that camera too is it's easy to use, USB-C, and one of the things I really talk about is this USB-C interface. The camera uses USB-C. If you've got a data cable and you got a MacBook or a Windows computer, you are ready to go for live streaming. You do not need an interface. You literally plug it in and it would be your main camera like this is a main camera. It would be your audio interface too because I don't need this audio interface in this case here. It is an, hold on, give me a second here. Yes, I'm using an F8N Pro as an audio interface today, only because I forgot my Rode mics. I plan on doing something else tonight, and then I got inspired to do this. You don't need an audio interface because it's already built into the camera. You've also can record a 4K, 60 frames per second, beautiful image in all eye while sending a 1080p 60 frames per second signal to a live stream and powering it with a USB charging cable, which goes through the laptop, through the data cable, and run for like 3, 4, 5 hours. No worries, mainly just run out of memory. That's huge. And then there's professional lenses. Here's the key part about that particular camera or any of the email cameras. They've got some really cool cinema lenses. So you can add cinema lenses to this and it will just knock you off the park. When I say cinema lenses, I'm talking Fujinon. There's one that's just, oh, give me a second here. What's the name of that one company here? You ever have a moment when you know there's a company that's out there that's got really cool stuff, but you just forgot the name of the lens? It would be, hold on, I'm going to get it for you in just 1 second. They're the Kata lenses. So give me a second. Kata. DZO Film. That's who they are. DZO Film makes the Kata lenses that are the 35 to 80 T 2.9s. They do a bunch of these lenses that are really awesome cinema kits. And, you can just use those and build up this camera. You can put a cage on it. You can put an FX, what was it, the Ninja V onto this one here or the Ninja V Plus, and then get raw video. It just grows with you. And that's why I happen to like this one as a recommendation. You can literally build up a whole production around this camera and put together some great, great long term videos. So, thank you for anyone who watched. I know I'm rambling on today, but it's fun to talk about this product lines or any of these product lines, like Sennheiser microphone. One of my favorite microphones to use because they sound really good. Zoom products. We use them all the time in our live streams and daily production. So we're going to be doing one this weekend in particular that's going to use a Zoom board to control a DJ, a couple live speakers, and microphones. It's really nice to do. I could actually do it off this here too if I wanted to. It's just phenomenal what these products can do. We're going to have wireless microphones. I think we're going to use Shure microphones for the wireless microphones, or we're going to use these Sennheiser wireless 835s, which are really nice too. Those are amazing kits, and those are 2.4s, and they just sound phenomenal. So, long story short, the product lines that are out there now are really good for what you can get. Uh, but starting up at $5,000 with a full kit from the ground up, and you want it to be a good video productions right off the bat, and just need talented people behind the camera or creatives that know what they're doing. This is what I would say start with. And a lot of companies, and I'm going to end this with a final thoughts on what makes this important for a company, not the whys. I'm going to explain the what, the how, the when, the where, and the who's. And I think the why is going to be pretty obvious. What makes this important? We're in an age now where you have to do shorts, you have to do verticals, you have to do long form, you have to do all types of things to get people's attention on the digital market now. That being said, you need a camera that can handle doing all of those really good without having the need of a lot of extra equipment to make it happen. This FX30 does that. The lenses I chose. The hold on. That's the what. How do we use this? Easily. Literally watch a couple videos on YouTube or pay somebody to come out who's an expert in this. If you're going to be doing a production that's looking to grab people's attention, investing in a few experts to come out a couple times a month to do it for you is, number one, cheaper than having a team 24/7. Two, gets the job done the way you want. When should you do this? As often as you can. I'd recommend for anyone in the industry to at least be doing 24 videos a year, either live stream or live to tape, just staying fresh for your clients to see. And this is something you would throw onto YouTube, your main page, and the rest. And I would email it out to everybody who's on your list a couple times a year. So I would do it maybe 5 times a year or 6 times a year, where you bi-monthly send something out and say, hey, how you doing? Here's the newest stuff that we just did, and here's a couple of videos we did in the last couple of months talking about our products that we're doing, to make it easy for people, because they listen to their headphones all the time and watch on their phones. So I think that would be another good thing. Where is the best place to set up? It depends on the equipment. So I'm just sitting in a lobby right now, but if you're in your office and you've got a nice spot and it looks good in the light, everything's good there, just do that. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Lastly, did the who of it. That's what I need to do. The who of it. It's you and the consumer or the end user. There has to be a relationship a lot of times between you and the end user. And it's not always about, this I'm I'm in love with you moment, or we're unified moment. It's because, when you're doing this, you want to have a connection point to their desired needs and help them through it. And a lot of times people are looking for those desired needs, or thinking about it when they're watching another video or getting an email about it, and they go, okay, that's great. I read this for 30 seconds, which you're going to get 30 seconds to reading. But after that, they're going to be like, I'm done. Having the video extends that to a minute to 2 minutes, and that really allows you to get your message across, which is key. And that who it's for kind of changes, because like when they know you and they know what you're about, it makes a huge difference. Let me cite an example for you here. uh, Toyota, which I was part of Toyota for a long time through dealerships, really loved a program that a dealership group in Western Washington was doing, where they would actually send out an email with a small video link, a professionally done video that said, hi, my name is who I am. I've been in the community this long, who I've helped, when I've done it, where I've done it, how I've done it, what sets us apart. And they would send that video out with no question to buy anything. They would just send it out. So this is who we are. And if you feel comfortable enough, please connect with me. If you don't, at least email me back and say, hey, look, I'm really just not looking for a car, but I just was like, I'm glancing, or whatever it was. The retention to client was so much higher. The high when they walked in the door was more often. And most importantly, they stopped looking at the staff as just staff. So this was done with service advisors. This was done with customer service agents. This was done with everybody. So for example, you had an issue, and transportation is huge, as we all know. So let's just say you had an issue with an oil change, and you wanted some resolution done, or an issue with a service that was done. The first thing our service person would send out was a video saying, "Hi, I'm this such and such person. I'm here to help you. Please reach out and contact me. I've been doing this so long. I've been in the neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. What makes me, who makes me, how we do this." People would be more open to talk to the service advisor and let them know exactly what had happened to help their situation better, because it's always the smallest things. It's not the big things, it's the small things. For example, one client was mad because somebody, I don't know how they did it, but must have got coffee, oil, or something onto these brand new rugs they bought like 2 weeks before the oil change. And all it was this was messed up. Turns out we fixed it in a unique way. We replaced the rugs. Now you would think, oh, that makes sense. You replace rugs. No, it doesn't. We have a cleaning crew. We could have them do that. But it turned out we happen to have an overstock of rugs. It would look much better just to give them a brand new product and say, hey, look, we really did damage this. And we got a good review out of it. And that's what actually happened. And the person was so happy and enthusiastic that they kept bringing people. Understand this, bringing people to get an oil change. You understand? And an oil change, no one wants to get done. Let's be real. Who wants to go to a dealership where you can get hammered by salespeople every time you come in there to get an oil change? But this guy would bring people in because they were extremely happy with the service, but they had a connection with the person beforehand. And when they walked in the door, they knew the person's face, they knew their name. Now I can say same thing can happen on an email. It's inexpensive to build customer service with video. And that's the last of what it is, and that's a why. Please enjoy the rest of your day. If you enjoyed the video, cool, put a like on it. If you didn't enjoy the video, I guess you can thumbs down it. It's not going to show on YouTube. They don't show the negatives anymore. I mean, I love seeing it. It lets me know how to progress these better. Um, if you're on LinkedIn, I'm here to help you anytime on anything when it comes to video, especially if we're connected. I appreciate all 4,500 of you who look over and communicate with me. It's a pleasure. It's a blessing, and it is great to have that. On YouTube, I don't really have a following, but I'm trying it out now, kinda. I don't know, man, because most of the times I'm talking to corporate people who are awesome, who are spending 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week from their families, and they're just trying to get the best solutions so they can spend more time at home or do it another way or have the best, Zoom meetings and everything else so they don't have to be in them as often. All right, everybody have a great day. Thank you very much. It's been 37 minutes of fun. Bye-bye now.